Little slideshow. So we're running through Gravity Forms and some of the cool stuff that you can do with Gravity Forms, which there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. My little bio, I first built a website in '95, I got hooked on it, freelanced for a number of years, then I finally took a full-time job as a developer in 2006. I started my own company in 2012 to kind of legitimize my freelance work. Then I went full-time doing that this year, working mainly as just a back-end developer for agencies that may have a design person and or somebody that can do front-end stuff, but like custom plug-in work and things like that. Just kind of where I come in. So, what is Gravity Forms? It is a paid plugin for your self-hosted sites. That's like a question that I've gotten before from folks that have a site at WordPress.com. Of course, can't install plugins, or if you can't, it's a very short, or if you can, it's a very short list of plugins that you can install. So it's what they call the WordPress.org sites when you're hosting yourself. And the cost for the plugin starts at like $39, I think, for a personal license, which lets you use it on one site. Then they have a range of like $99 for a business license, and you get a few more sites on top of that. But for the developer license, which is the one to get if you're going to be using it for client projects, that runs $199, and it includes a ton of third-party add-ons and first-party add-ons that the developers will build too. But that's like for the first year, and then I got my developer license in 2012, and I think every year thereafter it's renewed at like $99. So that's not too bad, but really it's more than paid for itself in the different projects I've done. So it's an easy form builder. I mean, at the very high level, view looking at it, it just provides this really awesome point and click, drag and drop interface to create forms. And their support is really, really good. Another reason why I like it. You kind of get what you pay for. If you get a free plugin, the author might have good support, they might not. Paid plugins, they tend to be better about it. The Rocket Genius, the company that makes Gravity Forms, they're like one of the best that I've seen as far as support goes. As a developer license holder, you get priority responses to tickets, which means during business hours I've waited like an hour or two, and then they respond to a ticket and say, oh yeah, here's how you do that, or whatever. But with the individual license, you get support as well. It's probably not going to be a matter of hours. It might be the next day or something. And it's really extendable, which is my favorite thing. There's a ton of plugins that you can install as a developer license holder. Whole different range of stuff, which I'm going to kind of touch upon. But it's also got a very powerful API, which makes it easy to extend or override default functionality. So if you're somebody that needs to make it do something that it doesn't do out of the box, or maybe a third-party plugin doesn't do out of the box, they built it in a way that's very developer-friendly, so you can do more stuff with it. Huge time saver. I don't like reinventing the wheel if I don't have to, so I'm not going to write a plugin for a contact form if I don't have to, and if I need a client comes to me and needs their website to integrate with a third-party service, and there's already a plugin for it, I'm just going to do it. So what you can do with it, simple contact form. Something as simple as filling out your name, your address, whatever it might seem. That's a very basic thing that you can do. You can do more complex stuff like multiple pages or conditional fields, where you might pick an option from a drop down and other fields show up or hide based on that selection. They make it really easy to do that. You can even do simple e-commerce They have integrations with PayPal, Authorize.net, Stripe, and so on and so forth. So there's people that have made simple ordering forms or like a registration form for something where you have to pay for it. You can do that too with it if you want.
Membership forms?
Yeah, membership forms, exactly. Exactly, and you can also integrate it with external systems. So if you have a customer that uses a CRM, like Salesforce, I helped Greg with that. He's a couple customers that actually use Salesforce. You can have Gravity Forms dump leads into like Salesforce, for example, which is really simple to do, but it's a really huge thing for a client, you know, who might otherwise be getting these leads through the website, emailed to them, and then somebody sitting there and copying and pasting this into their system with their Salesforce integration. You can just drop it in. And that actually uses an external system that I'm going to go over to. But I mean, it's just, the sky's the limit on it. I mean, you can do stuff like text messaging. They have an integration with a provider called Twilio. So if you want to get a text when you receive a form, you can. If you want to respond to something with a text, like, you know, hey, thanks, received your submission, here's your coupon code, you know, whatever. Mailing lists, you can subscribe people to like a MailChimp list or other things. So it's pretty powerful. It's pretty cool, the stuff that you can do with them externally. Of course, you can make quizzes and you can make polls. They have developer license has access to a couple of plugins that actually just do that out of the box. That's what they're designed for. You can even do user-submitted content like, well, they have a user registration add-on. You could replace the default WordPress registration form with your own custom one if you wanted to. Because, you know, maybe there's some business logic you need or some fields that you need grabbed. Posts, you can create posts with Gravity Forms. So if you want user-generated content that way, that you could go in and improve the posts, you could. Good for like business directories and things like that. And some of the cool stuff you can do, this is where I'm going to stop running through slides and I'll show you. So like flexible notifications is one of the nice things it has. And I guess before I get into that, I will back up and show you what the forms look like. So, what's that thing doing? There we go. So these are a bunch of the demo forms that they have online, and you can actually export them and import them to your own WordPress installation, which is what I've done here. And let's see. So if you go into any one of these forms, you get this nice drag and drop point and click editor. So this is a pre-built form we've already got here, where it's asking you to tell us a little about yourself. Here's some fields, what's on your mind, questions, comments, and over here on the right, you can add any kind of new field that you want. Standard stuff like, you know, just a single line of text or paragraph text with multiple lines. Drop down selects, you can see the whole range there. And I mean, adding, for example, a drop down, at least on a Chromebook. There we go. Simple as just clicking on it and then it just shows up down here. You can click on the field and you can, I'm not good with the touchpad on Chromebook. But yeah, I mean, you can change the label, or favorite beer. Just to say there's so many. And then you can add and remove choices really easily. So I mean, the editor is really it's really easy to use, and it's good for clients to use if they, you know, if you want to turn over control to them, because they don't have to really program or anything.
Is it default to feed right into the database, the WordPress database?
Yes, it does.
That's nice.
It saves all entries for all forms under sidebar over there, under entries. By default, you don't have to do anything out of the box or configure it. Like I know Contact Form 7, I think, doesn't save by default. You have to
Correct.
add a plugin for it.
Correct. And that we already have this, by the way.
And,
Okay.
it saves them, and then you can view them, you can export them. I think it definitely supports like CSV.
It might not be set up yet, but we paid for it.
Okay,
Nice.
cool.
So, I mean, that's just what the basic form editor looks like. It gives you more advanced fields too, like if you want to have a name field, like that's what this one is. You can split it out by first and last name. You can turn on other parts of the name, your own prefix, middle, suffix, whatever. Time, date, phone, you know, the pre-formatted fields that you don't have to do anything special with. File upload, you can let somebody, you know, send you a file, and you can whitelist the types of files you want, so if somebody's not sending you
Does it have
pictures.
input validation?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. It has rules down at the bottom of every field in the editor, where you can say that you want to make this a required field or not. In some cases, you can put, you know, a maximum number of characters. So you don't want people just to really bombard you with spamming text. You've got options to change the field size, a custom validation message if you don't want to use their out-of-the-box ones for, you know, hey, you forgot to fill out this field. I can't remember exactly how they phrase it, but you can put in your own if you want. Placeholder text, you know, the helpful stuff that is pre-filled in the field before you fill it out. You can put that into. And if you're a designer and you want to really style the heck out of the forms, you can add custom CSS classes to each form element so that you can tweak it to your heart's content. And they have advanced options too, like showing a default value, making fields only visible to like a logged in admin. You can get more advanced stuff like what I was starting to mention in the slide, like the conditional logic, and you can also let a field be populated dynamically, which has some really cool use cases. Like, I'm trying to think of a good one off the top of the head. Well, I guess the barcode project I did, where I needed to pull a value for a coupon into the form so that when it was to be sent, they on the thank you page, it would know what coupon to show the person. So you could make a field, like in that case, I made a hidden field and I said, let this be populated dynamically, and then I wrote some code in the back end that when the form would load and we go to fill it out, the hidden field would automatically get populated with a coupon value. And then go to the thank you page, and there it is. I'm sure there's all sorts of other use cases for that too. But yeah, you can pass it in using your hooks, short codes, query strings, whatever. And that's some of the more advanced stuff. Pricing fields, you can, like I had said earlier, you could do an order form or a membership form or something. You can have multiple product fields and price fields, stuff that'll actually calculate the form for you as you go. And I've got a demo that'll show you that.
Now, what version of this are you demonstrating? Is this the one, the pro version?
This is the developer version, and everything you see here comes with the individual version, the $39 one. The developer version, it doesn't add additional functionality to like just the basic creation of forms. It expands upon the plugins that are available to you, which I can show you. So, I mean, for the $39, you get the form editor, you get the database saving, you get a lot of other stuff that I haven't even touched upon yet, like Well, I think I briefly mentioned like the conditional fields. You can say, show this or hide this based on some other action on the form. Whether it's a value that you enter or if it's like a select option or something. There's also advanced email routing that you can do even with the basic one. Like if you have a form for a company with a drop down of like 6 different departments or something, and you wanted an email go to, the recipient to change based upon that, you can easily do that too. A lot of really cool stuff. And when you get into the add-ons, just to give you a brief idea of some of the stuff you get as a development license holder. Active campaign, email list, marketing, agile CRM, that's kind of like a Salesforce, authorized.net, payment platform, more mailing lists, other CRM, other mailing lists, Campfire if you're somebody that uses that, which I haven't seen that around in a while. But more CRMs, more mailing lists, Dropbox, if you wanted to have a file attachment uploaded to your form and automatically save it to your Dropbox for whatever reason you could. Coupons, you can put in discounts for your registration forms or e-commerce forms. More marketing service there. FreshBooks, automatically create invoices or estimates based on a form submission. HipChat, HighRise, MailChimp, real popular mail list provider. Different PayPal options. And polls, quizzes, even a signature, so you can, on like a touch screen, you can capture somebody's signature on a form. There's just a lot of add-ons. Surveys, Stripe payment processor, Slack is a collaborative messaging tool. Trello, project management that I know I use and you guys use quite extensively. Twilio, that's the SMS notifications. I mean, Twilio is a separate service and it's a paid account, but hooking up Twilio to the forms, it's just a matter of point of click. It's real simple. The user registration, I think I briefly mentioned that earlier, that if you wanted to replace your user registration form in WordPress with something fancy, custom, you can do that. There's CRM, and then Zapier, this is something, or Zapier, I don't know how to pronounce it. That's something that I'm going to touch upon a little bit later. Zapier is a third-party service that lets you connect services to services. It's like a point-and-click, drag-and-drop programming interface.
Oh, wow.
So you can, that's where the Salesforce thing comes in. I mentioned you can drop leads into Salesforce. You do it through Zapier. You literally say, okay, I want Gravity Forms to connect to this service, and then you go through the steps and say, like this field in Gravity Forms needs to save to this field in Salesforce, this field needs to save to there. And Zapier has just a ton of other integrations too. You can connect a lot of different systems. That's cool, just in and of itself, but they have a hookup for Gravity Forms, so you can do some really cool stuff with it. So I mean, that's the list of the stuff that comes preloaded and ready to install for you if you have a developer license. Like I said, the single license, you can do all the same cool basic stuff. You just don't get any of the add-ons unless you want to pay for it. Pay extra for it, I should say. So one of the things I mentioned was flexible notifications. So let me show you the basics of how, once you build a form, how you present a thank you page and how you actually notify somebody that the form is received. So for a simple contact form, for example, you go into confirmations. That's what Gravity Forms calls a thank you page, basically, or a thank you text. And they let you configure all sorts of things for confirmation. like you can, like your default one, in this case, that I'm clicking on. And you can have it be something as simple as a line of text that just appears either on a new page or on the same page if you want to use Ajax. You could have a thank you page on the site already built, showing whatever you want, and then you can pick that page from here and tell it, that's what I want the confirmation to be. Or you can redirect it anywhere you want, any custom URL if you have the need to do that. And if you're like me and you get geeky with the stuff and you need to pass the submitted data, you can actually do that too.
Like Google Analytics?
Maybe. And, I don't know exactly how that connects, but if there's a way to dump information into Google Analytics via a URL where you're passing the values in the URL, then yeah, you could.
Yeah, you probably
But Google Analytics, like a regular conversion, like they give you the JavaScript for conversion tags.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can just go here to your editor, switch
Yeah.
to text mode, and just paste it right in there.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good for any kind of conversion.
Conversion, yeah.
Yeah, Google Analytics or whatever else you marketers do. I don't keep up on that stuff. I just plug it and go. So yeah, I mean the confirmations are cool, and like this is the default one. You can have multiple confirmations. So if for some reason you want to have a different thing happen or a different response presented to the user based on different conditions, you can do that too. So this is a second confirmation with all the same settings as what we looked at in the first one, but in this one, it's conditional logic. So you can say, use this confirmation if all or any of the following match. So if you had a drop down, let's go back to the previous example where I said, like we got a half dozen departments in the drop down, and you say, I want this to go to sales, or I want to contact service, or I want to contact whomever. You could use conditional confirmations and say, I want this one to show if the department was sales. I want this one to show if the department was support. I don't know, if that is helpful to people, but if they had the desire to show that, you can easily do it. Handy. So there's, the conditional, you get the conditional confirmations, you get the conditional fields, some pretty cool stuff. And the notifications is what is, who's getting notified after the form's being sent. It can be an email notification, it can be an integration, like using the Zapier that I mentioned before. You can dump the information there and then have it go out to whatever service you want. The Twilio add-on, which is a SMS text messaging service. If you install it, it'll actually give you another option for a notification to say that I want the information to go there and fire off something so you can do whatever you want with it. But your basic notification is usually just going to be sending an email to let the client know that they received a message through the form. And once you have your form set up and you've got the person's email address and stuff captured, it populates all that stuff over here. So you can say, you can set the from name for the email using like merge tag. So you can say, I want first and last name to go there. You can have the from email address be the client, or it could be like no reply if the client's domain if you want. Sometimes the email deliverability is a little better if you use a from email address that's the same as the website. You could set a reply to, so I mean, that's not a bad spot to populate the reply to with whatever was submitted in the email field. You can set line copies, and then of course you get a WYSIWYG for message, which can be, you know, something nice and fancy, or it can be something as simple as picking an option from over here and saying, now where is it? Yeah, there it is. All submitted fields. So, I mean, it would just do it like a table layout and just list like name, whatever they put in, email, whatever they put in and stuff, and just put that in the body of the message. You can even attach images and stuff to it if you want. So configuring that is pretty nice. You can select the field that you want the email to be sent to, if this is something that needs to be sent back to the person for whatever reason, who fill it out, or you can send it to whatever email address you want. Put a list of them there if you really want. Or if you want to get really fancy, like the example of routing based on like a department field, then you can do that. You can say send to whomever if department is, and you can add multiple ones. You can do all sorts of conditional stuff. And there's also that's for the routing, and then there's conditional logic down here too, which will let you kind of like in the confirmation thing where I said you can set up multiple confirmations and have different thank you pages or whatever. You can set up multiple notifications too. So let's say this notification here that we're configuring now goes to you, the person who built the site. Maybe you just want to, be copied on the forms for a little bit. You can do that.
You need to wave your arms a little bit.
Right.
It's kind of like, the sensors, activity sensors in a room to turn your lights off and on.
Yeah.
Or like you're in the bathroom.
So, I mean, am I like rushing things
No,
too fast?
no,
Just
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good pace, good content.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Got a few funny pictures too. So.
I mean, the thing that I've taken in is how easy it looks to work with.
Yeah,
Ease of use.
that was the thing that blew me away too. And I first started using this like in 2012. Before that, there was a lot of other drag and drop and point and click, form builders. The first time I ever looked at it, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" It's really cool. And if you have like forms that you reuse on a lot of sites, like a simple contact form, if you want to, save 5 or 10 minutes of pointing and clicking, you can actually export any form, and you can import it on any other site. So, if you're always going to be making a contact form for somebody, we'll just have that export file ready to go and import it. We get all your basic fields all ready to go, which is really handy. Go away.
Andrew, did you filled out like a really extensive one for an employee application? Or multiple? For Rayleigh, I think. Was that?
Oh, probably.
I think that's huge.
Yeah, and then unless that was one that got replaced by form site, I can't remember.
I can't remember. I know this one didn't have the social security number, but
Notifications off.
Yeah, PII is one thing that I'd always be cognizant of trying to capture. But if you have a secure way of doing it with gravity forms, I suppose you could.
The one thing I don't do with gravity forms is any form that's the openness of WordPress.
Yeah.
It makes me a little paranoid when dealing with any kind of sensitive information.
The
Because
data's stored in the database,
Yeah.
so it's only as secure as the weakest part of WordPress.
And the weakest part of WordPress, is, in my opinion, is its strongest part. And the strongest part is the ability to expand and install all these different plugins that all these third-party folks have made. I mean, that's the whole nature of open source. But that's also the downside, because there's a lot of really crappy developers out there. There's a lot of really good ones, but any software program is likely to have a vulnerability at some point. Even the best one, the Gravity Forms, had a pretty public one a year and a half ago or so. And, you know, I would rather just put sensitive information somewhere that is built for and centered around transmitting and storing really sensitive data. Like, MUD. In MUD, you know, they wanted social security numbers for these credit applications. We didn't run that through WordPress. Used a third-party service that is PCI compliant and does encryption and stores all that stuff. I mean, if you put it on WordPress, you just go through there and look at people's social security numbers and export them, you know.
Yeah.
So, that's the only thing I don't do with Gravity Forms. But 9 times out of 10, the projects I'm doing don't involve really sensitive information, so I use it pretty extensively. The ability to just to build forms by point and click, and you know, you can put capture is
I've heard you can use it. I just haven't done it.
one of the demos that they had on their website, which I brought over here. Like, here's basic form calculations. Preview form too. This shows a total field down there, and you can, you know, add 100. You can just change stuff, and it shows how it can, you know, calculate stuff on the fly for you, even within options too. If you pick this option, that's an extra $50, whatever. So, I mean, I know that it can do it. Haven't done much with it in that respect.
So this is probably a really stupid question, but I'm a marketing manager, so.
There are no stupid questions.
So like the one you just showed, calculations, can you incorporate that into another form? Can you like, so if you have a basic contact form, but you want them to add on like an extra thing, I don't know. You can kind of like layer them up, or are there separate complete forms for that?
No, the form that I just showed is one that happened to have all the pricing and the calculations just built into it. So you can have a basic contact form and just throw those fields in there.
Okay.
And include that sort of functionality. Absolutely. Yeah. These are just examples of different forms. When you're working with Gravity Forms, natively there isn't such a thing as build me a contact form versus build me a ordering form.
Gotcha.
You're just building forms.
Okay.
And then what you put into it is what differentiates
Gotcha.
what kind of stuff you want it to do.
In other words, a contact form could be used as a starting point to build a.
Build that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And you know, you can end up getting to the point where you page form so simple. It kind of made my head spin the first time I ever saw it. It's that's that. Yeah. So you just drag page over. I'm saying, you know, here, start paging, end of page, that's what your page break is. So now you just made this page 1. And you can go down here and drag a page over again and insert another page break. So you can do some really cool stuff like that.
Makes it so they don't have to scroll.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you're going to capture a lot of information, if you have 50 fields of information you want to capture, it's a lot less daunting to the end user, I think, if you're just presenting them with a few at a time. Unless they're the type that really hates progress bars and sees that they're still 40% through or whatever. But it's just, I like the fact that it's just easy to do that. Hidden forms, HTML if you wanted to put a message, whatever kind of format it's actually you want to do, wherever form you can do that too. Trying to think of anything else, just in I mentioned you can create posts, like if you have user-submitted content. You can, these are literally the post fields, like this would be the title of the post, the excerpt, the category. You can add multiple custom fields and say, this is the post image.
A good example of why you might want user-generated content. Let's say you're doing a survey and you're trying to get users to provide some feedback on something. That could go into a post and go right onto your website.
Yep. Business directory is another good one too.
Is there like a review stage for that?
Yeah, you can have it default to,
Records database.
yeah, I mean, you could even, there's a project that I'm looking at working on where there's external contractors being involved and they have to submit information to this company that makes stuff, cabinetry. And they want them to be able to send this information to them. And so I suggested, well, you could use Gravity Forms and you could have it simply stored in the database as entries, or you could create a custom post type for your, basically their quote requests, I guess is what they are. And then you can create the form with all the post fields and stuff that they need, and then they can fill it out, and then it would actually create these custom posts in WordPress when you need them. But, yeah, it's very flexible. There's all sorts of stuff you can do. And my slideshow would be of any use at this moment, because I don't know how far ahead I jumped. Sorry. Let's see. So it does flexible notifications, which I kind of went over. With the multiple notifications, I kind of showed that too. You can, set one for yourself, one for the client, even one for the user if you really want, and send them based on different criteria, or just send them every time. The configurable email routing, which I kind of went over. That's one of my favorite things too. The conditional notification sending, so you can have the different notifications send based on different criteria. And same with the confirmations, the thank you text or the thank you page or the redirection to an entirely different part. All those can all be set up via multiple confirmations with conditional logic. So you only show thank you for. And I think in my example, I was saying, like, if you have departments and drop down to different departments and you want to show a different thank you message based on where you sent the form, you can do that. And of course, like you had asked earlier, they are all the entries are always saved in the database, and they're exportable, and you can export as much or as little information about it as you want. You can pull like just the form fields that were submitted, or it also saves the date and time that it was sent. Saves the IP address. I think it saves the browser information too if you're somebody that cares about that stuff. So it's pretty thorough. And that was just a random picture for no business whatsoever. There's my ornery intern. So the really cool stuff is the third-party integrations, which I kind of touched upon. If you are a basic license holder, you don't get all that list of add-on stuff that I showed you, but you can still integrate with a third party. Like that Zapier that I mentioned, which can let you talk to a whole bunch of other systems. I mean, me personally, it just makes sense to buy a development license because you pass that cost on whoever uses it, folks, especially the time you're saving. Like the different examples, I guess, I probably already went over this.
Definitely marketing items right there, mailing lists.
Yeah, messaging. We did a project for something that was text messaging. Thank you with a bit.ly link to go claim their coupon. Basically sign up to get text messages and you get X thing you're trying to hop to people. And then, of course, that's Zapier integration. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that because it's really cool. That was one of those, oh, holy crap moments, like the first time I ever learned about Zapier, and I started looking through it and seeing all the things you can do, because I'm the guy that used to have to write these integrations, you know, like, I want my Gravity forms to save leads into Salesforce. That would be something that I would have had to like write from scratch, and I don't have to, which, not that I don't like writing, but writing code, I do, but I'll reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. It's really slick. And I'm glad I remembered to put that in. So like, this is the direct link to the examples of the different things that you can integrate with using Zapier. I'm probably going to go back and forth on the pronunciation because I'm not entirely sure. But Zapier is, it's not free, it's paid. It's not crazy expensive or anything. I can't remember. It starts at $20 a month or something.
There's some free stuff.
There's a free level, and I think it delays the amount of time it takes for the data to dump the other systems.
Yeah.
And there's a limited number of zaps, which is...
Do you have to keep paying that while you're, like, let's say you integrate something, right?
Yep.
And once it's integrated, you got to keep paying that every month? Or, okay.
Yep, Zapier is a monthly thing, and yeah, they're pretty transparent with the pricing right up here. So for thank you. Yeah, so like the free pricing, you get 5 zaps, which is a zap is an integration. So they'll give you 5 integrations. It'll only run every 15 minutes, so you don't get real time dumping of data. And 100 tasks a month, so you can have like 100 things transmitted every month, and that costs you nothing. You know, and then going up from there, it's just like your number of integrations increase, the number of tasks per month increase, all the way up to really expensive stuff. But I have for myself, I use the basic plan. I actually integrate Zapier completely outside of, it has nothing to do with WordPress. Like, I use Trello for project management to kind of try to keep myself organized, and I have a Zap created that will let me apply, if I get an email in Gmail, I can apply a specific label to that email, and Zapier will, within 15 minutes, pull that email into Trello, into a special list, so that I can remember.
Put it in your backlog?
Basically, yeah.
Nice.
It's really slick. I have another Zap set up because Red Lab uses Trello, and I do work with Red Lab, and I have my own Trello account, and 3 other clients that I work with also use Trello. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Trello at all, but I think I have 20 different boards. You know, it's hard to keep track of, so I actually have a master board, which will connect to these other boards. And if you guys put a new card in there, I'll see it in the board that you've created for me, but it'll also go to my master, so I kind of like a big overview of all my different boards and what I'm trying to do. Because otherwise it gets kind of hard to keep track of stuff in there when you have a whole bunch of boards and stuff. But yeah, the email follow-up stuff is really handy. And you can do all sorts of other integrations too. But in the context of Gravity Forms,
Now, Zapier isn't something specifically for WordPress. You can use it for other things, right?
oh yeah, I mean, there's over 250 different services that they integrate with. So you can do all sorts of stuff. Not just with WordPress, it's with all sorts of stuff. But since I use it so much with Gravity Forms, I thought it'd be good to just touch upon it so you're aware of it, because it might come in handy for that or anything else in your professional lives. But I love it. I mean, They have a integration where you can save your submissions to a Google spreadsheet. I don't know, maybe you have a client that just likes spreadsheets and doesn't like doing it any other way. Well, if they have a Gmail account or a Google account, you can save their entries right to the spreadsheet and be done with it. Save stuff to Dropbox. You could create a Google Calendar event from Gravity Form submission. Whatever Pipedrive is.
It's a CRM.
CRM, yeah. HubSpot CRM, you can send information there. It's pretty slick.
Is everybody getting into the CRM business?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then, of course, Salesforce, Trello cards, that's what I use extensively for myself. Insight, I assume that's some sort of CRM analytics or something. File uploads, if you want to dump to your Google Drive, you can do that. If you're someone who uses GoToWebinar, you can take submissions in Gravity Forms and stick them in there and do whatever you would do with them. Again, another CRM here. Podio, I don't know, that's probably a task manager. HubSpot. Is there a
HubSpot code repository?
HubSpot's marketing CRM.
marketing and CRM stuff. You can save responses to a Google Docs file, or a spreadsheet. I mean, they showed a spreadsheet before. Save submissions as contacts. There's just all these different things that you can.
So it's almost like an API aggregator that
It's
allows
exactly what it is. Yeah, and they have so many different places that they integrate with. Over 500 apps.
Wow.
250.
we could be here all night as you walk through all of them.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to give the quick rundown.
That's pretty awesome.
All these different things that they have written an API for them where you can connect to it and make it talk with something else just by using a web form, point and click. I have no idea what all they cover. I just know that there's a lot. You can see a lot of.
The bottom line is that once you have a client, you integrate them, right? And you have to continually, or the client would have to pay for that integration through these guys perpetually.
Yep.
It's not a one-time charge, it's a monthly
It's a sort
charge.
of
Wow,
full-time-
they get their money. I mean, that's
That's where I see it as the win, because prior to something like this, if you wanted to integrate this system to this system, you're going to go find a developer,
yeah.
and you're going to pay out the nose.
Yeah.
It's custom integrations. Take a lot
And
of
I'm
time.
assuming that if they have to do any upgrades and stuff, it's just pretty seamless.
Yeah.
Because some of these places expand their APIs as time goes on. Their APIs are expanded, right?
Yeah, and some will drop support for older APIs. Instagram, for example, I think their old APIs go away. So, but these Zapier,
Jira, there's mine.
They stay on top of that stuff. There's just a lot of different services that they integrate with. It's really slick. It was actually an entrepreneur who first told me about this about four years ago, because he was always, finding developers to make different systems talk together, and he's like, "Oh my God, have you seen this thing? You've got to see this." And I'll be honest, my very first thought was, "Oh, well, I'm out of a job." Thanks, guys. But it's totally not the case. I can take on more work because I can do, hook them up with this stuff and just work on other things. It's just, they always say that the best thing in the service business is to solve problems for your clients. So, you say, yeah, I can make this talk to this, and it's going to cost you an hour of my time, and then whatever renewable monthly rate is on the level you pick with Zapier. You're doing some good stuff on Big Bucket. I didn't know they had Big Bucket integration. Nice. So yeah, Zapier is really cool. And it just goes on. Anyway.
Thanks for showing us that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Really cool.
That was one of the first things I thought of was, you know what, you can, anything you can't connect to with the developer license add-ons, you might be able to connect to with Zapier, but even if you can't, you guys probably think this is pretty cool. I mean, I do, I love it. Let's see, where else was I in here? Oh, yeah, that was my, oh, it auto-played. That's my dog. And I was at the part of the slideshow where I was like, okay, I need to put in some links to some demo forums. I need to build some demo forms. And I thought, well, that's my reaction to doing that. And I actually went out to the site. Which I think I actually have already loaded. No, I don't. And was able to download the demos and put them in my own install so you can poke around. But they have, really nice, pretty, already styled forms out here that you can look at some of the different examples. This one I always thought was pretty cool. So they did some fancy CSS work here, getting that price to show up there. So, you could put in your information and let's say, small pizza. Oh, $2.5 off. I want a mega deep dish because I love carbs. I'll just add a little bit more. So this is what, we can do a calculation for them. Visual comments, whatever. And then you can submit it, and like I said here, this would require some customization. Out of the box, Gravity Forms isn't going to stick a little smiling chef up at the top right of your page and do that stuff. So there'd be some little bit of work to do it, but it shows what you can kind of do with an ordering form. And from here, you could submit the information directly to yourself and/or pass the information on like a payment processor. Like if you want to have a simple ordering form. They show like a conditional logic, which is one of my favorite ones. So if you said, this is what I was mentioning earlier, want to contact the sales department, well, then you get a different message here in the subject and message field, billing department, same deal. But in this case, they're also showing an account number. Customer service. Again, just showing different fields based on the selection. So that's really handy. And being able to do that with, just point and click, not having to program anything, it's really powerful. And it integrates with CAPTCHA, which is pretty cool. And there's also, if you're a fan of the Google CAPTCHA, the I'm not a robot CAPTCHA, where it sometimes makes you look at pictures and it says, click on all the pictures of trees.
Oh, yeah.
You ever see those? I know there's a guy that released a plugin for Gravity Forms for that, and that's available on WordPress.org. And speaking of that, that's one of the things that I love about Gravity Forms, which I probably mentioned earlier on, is that it's easy to build on and build your own stuff on top of it.
Very similar to like WordPress.
Yeah, and it's very open, very extensible. Like the guys that built it were thinking about developers in mind. Like, how do we make this so that we can easily let other people expand on the functionality? So if you go to, what was it? It was 10.WordPress. So if you go to the WordPress site, go into their plugins and just search for Gravity Forms. You can get an idea of all the different add-ons that people have
Well,
created for free.
that raises a really, because when I was looking for Gravity, I didn't know which one to grab.
Yeah, that is because Gravity Forms is not available on WordPress.org because it's a paid plugin. So you actually have to go to gravityforms.com.
Yeah, explain that, because that was really confusing for me.
Yeah, totally. The WordPress repository, let's say that 3 times fast, only has free plugins and/or plugins that meet a certain license requirement. They have some that have, there's some developers that have plugins out there that have limited functionality, and then you like freemium, you know.
Mhm.
It's so much stuff, then you pay to get so much more. But a plugin like Gravity Forms, where there is no free version, you have to buy it, you won't find plugins like that on WordPress.org. It's kind of the same, kind of in the same vein that, you know, the professional commercial themes that people buy from like Theme Forest or Template Monster or places like that. They sell out there because the
So there's not
WordPress.org
like a,
repositories are all free stuff.
is there like a marketplace that you can go to where you can get paid for WordPress plugins? So it's all like aggregated and where they have reviews of them and all that kind of fun stuff?
There is a number of them. The one that I have used more than anything else is CodeCanyon.net. They have WordPress plugins, and they have all sorts of other stuff too. Standalone PHP scripts, JavaScript stuff, CSS stuff. You know the tabs in the EC promos plugin. I wanted some tabbed content where you click on the tab at the top and the content changes down below.
Yeah,
And I didn't feel like taking the time to
write it.
write it or look it up. Or I came on here and I found the code for $5. I'm like, okay, I'll just do that. Bam, done. You know. But yeah, they have got a WordPress section, and
Nice.
it's all broken down by different things. They have a lot of really neat stuff in here. They have themes, they have plugins, galleries, the big one. People like their images all nice and pretty. But yeah, you go into any one of the categories and you can see the cost of this stuff. You can see ratings. You can see demos. This is a really great place to
Okay, very
pick
good.
up paid stuff.
Okay, I gotta put that out on, what's it called, Code Canyon?
Code Canyon. Yeah, it's the parent company is Envato, ENVATO.com. They also run Theme Forest, which is strictly templates and themes and stuff like that, like WordPress themes, and then non-WordPress stuff too. They have other CMSs, and they have other things that I don't really know all that much about. But yeah, Code Canyon is exceptionally handy. That saves me a lot of time.
Photos and.
That's where we got Visual Composer and some of the other plugins. Yeah, so WordPress.org, that's where you find all your free stuff. And places like Code Canyon is all the paid stuff. I'm trying to think of, I don't think I had any other slides because I ran out of ideas. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I didn't cover that I wanted to.
CodeCanyon.net?
Yeah, .net. You load up, you can load up credit with like a PayPal account or credit card and then buy your stuff. Sometimes it saves you a little money if you prepay credit first rather than just buying
Does
something
it charge you
separately.
$2 surcharge with every purchase?
No, surprisingly it wasn't bad. I got dinged by a bank for like some international processing fees.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the heck they are, but it was
Yeah.
much, 40 cents.
What is what was the integrator, the API integrator?
That is Zapier.com.
ZAPIER?
Yep. Very helpful. I mean, I could show you really quick. Test site. Say you wanted to add a form to the page. I mean, it's crazy simple. Do my sample page. It just adds a button up here, just like add media. So you can add your own form. Let's say, let's put our simple contact form there, and now we don't need the title, and we don't need the description. Those, you can both put that in the, when you're setting up the form, you can add those. You can show them if you want, or you can add it. And you can say, yes, I want it to use Ajax, which, you know, is submitting information without refreshing the page. Or you can turn it off if for some reason you don't want that. I've never used templates. Anyway, insert the form. It's basically, it's just a short code creator is all that is. And take a page. And then that's it. It's pretty slick. It's also got widgets, gravity form widgets that come with it, so you can add a gravity form to any sidebar you want. And it's the same kind of process there. You just pick which form you want to put in and select some quick options, and off you go. So it's really slick. I don't know. Questions or anything? I can't think of anything else. Would you like my highly polished presentation?
Good job.
Yeah, great job.
Very good.
All right, cool. Well,
I guess some of the database stuff is
Oh,
there. We didn't really go over any of that. I know you can look it up and,
yep, I can show you that.
Yeah,
That's
let's do that.
an excellent point.
Yeah,
I mentioned that you can save this stuff, but I didn't actually,
how you go to it.
you know. So you get the forms option over here. I don't know if I have entries in here or not. I don't know. We can go with that really quick, so you got one to see.
So if you go into the forms, you pull up that form, and then the data that was fed into that form is displayed.
Yep.
This is very similar to like when you go into posts or pages in WordPress, right?
Very similar, yeah. So we just submitted that. Reload the entries. And this is, I'm looking at the wrong form. This is like a master view of all forms, and you have to go up here and switch. Like I want to see the entries for simple contact forms, so I just filled out. And so there's your first name, your last name, the email address. This is a brief view. It doesn't list every single field into a column, because otherwise that would be crazy to try to maintain. So you can just click on the name to drill down and see all the information. So there's my responses. The kind of meta information tells you when it was submitted, where they were, if they were logged in, it tells you the username, the URL that it was sent from. If for some reason you need to resend a notification, if somebody filled out an offer and then they said, hey, I never got the email, you could click on the notification and it would send the email to them again. And then as an internal notes field, so if for whatever reason you wanted to make a notation about this particular entry, you could. And then there's an import-export feature where you can say, I want to export the entries for simple contact. And then you can get as detailed or as simple as you want. You could say, I just want the name fields, the email, and comments, or you could have the additional fields as well. There's some payment fields that of course relate to using like an e-commerce setup. A post ID if you want to know which page ID they were on. Otherwise, the source URL will tell you URL from where they submitted that. You can even pick a date range. So if you got somebody who gets a heck of a lot of submissions and they need to go back and pull a list from, first week of March, they could. It's this conditional stuff, which honestly I didn't used. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, you could say only export forms with this field containing such and such value. And it does download it as a CSV, so you can open it pretty much anywhere. And then you also have the import and export capability. And it also will let you turn on background updates. So any new Gravity Forms releases that are considered bug fixes or security updates or automatically get, you don't have to think about it. Which I always do that too, because Gravity Forms is really solid. Their developers do a really good job of quality testing. So I just let it update itself. If I think about it. So yeah, I mean, it's the fact that it saves all this stuff, stored all this stuff. It's pretty cool. But for me, it's the third-party integrations that I really like. And that is my.
What do you do for credit card
If you
integration?
want to ask any questions, if there's anything I forgot.
Credit card integration? You said?
Credit card integration?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's do.
I'm assuming you need an SSL for this as well.
If it's processing credit cards through the website, yeah, you would.
Yeah, and what's the other thing you need in addition to SSL? You need what's the merchant account? You need a merchant account too.
Depends on what you're using.
Exactly. Back when I was looking at it, that's what
Yeah.
you needed.
I mean, you do need it for like PayPal and stuff. But
Yeah, if you use a payment processor that will provide a hosted page of their site for taking information, like PayPal Express checkout comes to mind. That's when you check out and then you go to the PayPal site and
Yeah.
information.
Then you don't need it. Yeah.
And personally, I'd rather do it that way because I barely use it all.
Yeah,
I'd rather
I hear
run my
you.
credit cards through my server if I don't have to.
There you go.
What did I do? What did I just say? Oh, yeah. To send information out to another source and say, hey, we got the payment. So you would go into your PayPal account and you would grab the
Information from
settings.
Yep. I remember doing that.
Confirm that you did that. I was trying to think if there's a quick and easy payment form that I could quickly add on there. A payment integration.
Is it doesn't seem like it'd be much different than if you tried to integrate like PayPal into just your regular WordPress post or a page. Would that be an accurate statement? It'd probably be the same type of thing,
I think
right?
so, no. Pretty similar.
Very similar.
Oh, we probably have to. There it is. Yeah, so you can go over the form you want to put PayPal on. Go to PayPal part of the form. Yeah, so there you go. Back here. Transaction type. Donations, giving money. So yeah, I guess the simple form, you know, this one, try this on, but, let's go to the- No, still there, first name. No. We'd have to go through and build a form that would be compatible with it, but basically configuring it, you know, you put in your PayPal address and you enable that IPN stuff in PayPal. And then you would have different fields in your form that would correspond to different bits of little information. So you could have your first name, last name, email, address, zip, all that stuff.
And all the stuff on the form would
Would
feed
map.
PayPal, would
Yeah.
map to PayPal's.
Exactly. That's what this is basically doing. I'm pretty certain what it's doing is it's taking the information that you are providing here, and then it's going to generate like an HTML form on the front of the site, which is going to post that information in a specific manner to PayPal. So
Yeah.
you know, your payment over there. A lot of this is kind of similar to some of the stuff you do in PayPal. If you create like your own cart buttons or
Yeah.
buy now buttons, you know, you pick a cancel URL that it goes back to. Well, that's kind of cool. You can send notification of the form when the form's submitted, only if payments received. Additional. But
Yeah, so the conditional logic, that's cool.
yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff. I can't even remember if I've set up payment integration for Gravity Forms yet. I don't know if I have. I just know that it can be done. Usually if I'm doing e-commerce in WordPress, it's with WooCommerce. But if you don't need something that fancy, you just need to capture some payment, you can do all of that.
What's the advantage of doing it through WooCommerce over using Gravity Forms for something like that?
Things, but it really isn't the concept of a shopping cart. You know, you're just filling out a form and sending that information along.
So if you don't want a cart, this would be kind of a better solution because WooCommerce is all about the cart, isn't it?
Cart, checkout, my
Yeah, you just sell a
account.
payment, or you're selling a book or something, or one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't need to provide them with an order history, for example, or an account area or something, you're just capturing a simple payment for something, then you can really do that with Gravity Forms pretty easily. It's a lot simpler than dealing with setting up WooCommerce. But yeah, it lets you integrate with a number of payment processors. I know just Stripe, just authorized.net, PayPal, pretty cool stuff. Then that's going to show up on every website that, you know, you're use that developer license, which isn't a big deal. I was just like, okay, I need to go in and renew that. Forgot about it for a couple days. Then I realized one day that the message went away. And so I logged into the Gravity Forms account and it showed that it was paid by like some other person entirely. So I was convinced that there was like a security issue. So I contacted Gravity Forms. I was like, hey, what's up with this? Why is somebody else's information in my account? And they said, well, one of your clients must have saw the renewal message and went in and paid the renewal themselves. And I have absolutely no idea who this person was. I didn't know their name, I didn't recognize the city, nothing. So somebody out there saved me $100 last time. I'll try to be a little quicker about renewing the subscription this year. So. And it's good stuff. And like I said, I mean, I've at least 200 sites. I remember looking at it, once and counting it. And I keep waiting for them to say something to me about it, like you need to buy another license or something. Because I'm surprised that they would allow that many sites on one license. But that's the license terms, you know, unlimited sites. So lose money on guys like me. So, yeah, I mean, if you think of something later that you're curious about, totally hit me up on Meetup or my my website is like really short. And it's like the reason that I named my company that is because I wanted a really short domain name because I'm exceptionally lazy. So it's just a40am.com. Most of you there if you have any questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ad.